All right, let's get started. Wow, Jeanine, I am so excited to do this with you in person. Not only because we've known each other virtually for like ever, but it's so special to be able to like pick your brain and chat with you. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I am pumped because you are I always call you the Queen of California. I'm like, she knows everything about all of it. But maybe for those that are watching or listening, could you kind of just tell us a little bit about your content, your special sauce, your account, your audience, and how long you've been doing this?
Yeah, I started off as a travel blogger strictly since 2017.
Oh my God.
I dabbled in the Instagram space then, but really didn't start taking things seriously until 2020. Well, 2019, 2020.
Okay. So that's already like 3 years.
Yeah.
Of like doing it.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Full on. And yeah, I always knew that I wanted to turn this passion of traveling and sharing my story, sharing how I travel and what I do. And I wanted to monetize that.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to get serious with this. Yeah. Let's do this. And, I really just want to share I want to say the world, but it's really women that they could travel more adventurously. And
you've inspired me. You know that. And my husband and I joke because he's like, you're not a national parks girl. Like, you're not that. Like, you don't like, outdoors. And you really have inspired me to travel adventurously. So just knowing you, I can be your testimonial to that. How long have you been a full-time creator? I'm talking quitting the other jobs, doing this full-time, making this your bread and butter.
Since 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's like you took the leap.
Yeah. It was a full-on leap. Well, it was also like the pandemic that kind of just not forced me, but it was like, hey, here is this kind of opportunity. And it's kind of weird that the pandemic was an opportunity
for many people.
But it really was. I had the time. I had income coming in because of that. And I was like,
you're like, this is a time. Like, I'm going to go for it. What's interesting about you, too, is that you started in 2017. If you look at the time, too, you said you started off at the blog, then you got into Instagram, but you've seen TikTok show up. I'm sure you're on TikTok as well. Right?
I'm on TikTok as well.
So you like rode that wave and like also getting that. So like you're also growing in this space, which has probably also helped you be able to do this full time because you have a lot of different things to offer, right? Like your potential partners. In terms of the content you make, I know it's very California-centric, and I think it's very, very clear. You're actually probably one of the creators that I know that is the most clear. Like you're very clear on your offering, which is what people come to you for. Was that ever a struggle, like being able to be like, oh, I'm really going to be niche on something. I'm really going to focus on adventure and California content and national parks. And like, was that a hard shift or did it feel just like the natural thing to do?
It felt natural, but at the same time, I would struggle with, am I not adventurous enough? Am I not outdoors enough? Because, hey, I'm a city girl. I'm LA, born and raised. I love the city, but I don't really show that a lot in my content. I will sometimes. And sometimes I struggle with that. I'm like, but it is me.
We all want to share everything, right?
Right.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, no, like.
And, you have to pick and choose, right? But at the same time, like, I know creators that have heard this, like, you are the niche. And then on the other hand, it's, niche should just be, just outdoors and just adventure. But I think we could always mix in our personality. And personality is why brands want to work with us. It's why we have those loyal fans who are ride or die.
Yes, and they're going to like everything and engage with everything and all the things. So speaking of brands, when you got started in 2017, when did you get that? I know that started blogging then, so you were loosely blogging. So 2020 actually is when you started doing this full time. Do you remember that first brand deal? Do you remember the feeling? Can you take us back to that first one and what that was like, for you, all the things?
Yeah, my first brand deal, it was actually off of like an influencer platform. And I would never like even go back to this ever. I got paid like literal pennies, but I was really excited because I got some Bose headphones out of it, which were, and they were like, I don't know, $150 or something at the time. And that was like a big win for me. I'm like, well, I have these cool headphones now. But that was like my very first one. And yeah, like looking back, I'm like, you know what? Go me. I was excited for something out there.
You can't be hard on yourself. But what's interesting is when you hear about that first brand deal, you know, and the growth that you've done since, right? Because I know you've worked with brands, or I'll let you actually tell us like some of the brands that you've worked with, right? You've worked with major brands.
I've worked with major brands. I've worked with Hotels.com. I've worked with Thermos, Croc, Yosemite, Visit California, Matador Network.
Like you've had, you know, at this point, big brands. So in terms of like when you first got started, because a lot of people struggle with the pivot. They struggle with, I'm getting gifted. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's my first one. How did you grow? How did you start saying, wait a second, yes, the first one we're excited, but how do we keep pushing? How did we take that to maybe your biggest brand deal to date? Or how did you find yourself like kind of being able to say no? Hey, you know what? That pennies, that was great for that moment in my life, but this is where I am now.
I think there was just that time, and it was probably, 2020 when I just had that moment. I was like, okay, I've been saying that I want to turn this passion into an actual career. Let's do this. Okay. And I put my all into it, was looking at all the blogs and everything. And that's when I came across you guys. Actually, that's when I came across Sidewalker Daily. And, you know, I was like, I need to invest in myself. And hey, I'm just gonna
go for it.
Yeah, let's invest. Let's see what happens. I have a college degree. I invested in that.
Totally.
Why am I not going to invest in something that this is my new career
or what I want to do in myself? But you know what's interesting is because you see yourself as a business, and in order to make money, you have to spend money. Like all business owners know, whether we're getting a restaurant, shop, or pay rent or equipment, you know, we have to invest in ourselves, and education is part of that. There is no school on brand deals. Well, now there is through us.
Yes.
Before there wasn't. So what has been an exciting brand deal for you? Like, I don't even know this. Or like your biggest brand deal to date, something that you're like, that's at the bar. That's where I want to be. I want to do that again.
Yes. So my biggest brand deal today, it's actually coming up. So it's not even done yet, but I'll be getting paid just under $6,000. I'm really excited about.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great month.
Yes. I'm really excited for it, and it's happening. It's upcoming. Like
it's on the way.
And
that is like now. Has that set the bar? Like I'm not going under 6K. Like 6K is now like the new like going rate for my package or my proposal. Like has being able to hit that milestone like shifted something in you to be like, I know that there's this money and more. Like my next one's 10, my next one's 8 or whatever. Like did it put that fire under you?
It definitely did. I'm just done with these one and done, like, oh, we want to do this for this. I'm like, no, like I am.
So saying no.
Right. Saying no. And it's hard. It's hard to walk away from money sometimes.
Totally.
You have to train yourself on, you know, is this worth my time? Do I want to spend X amount of hours creating one deliverable, one reel, one TikTok? No, because that doesn't serve my audience.
And they're going to be like, And just to your point, I love how you led with your audience. You're like, they're not going to even like it one time. How am I going to sell something one time? I need to be a part of this brand story and really walk my audience through this. So I love that you're thinking about your audience as well. Because I always tell influencers, your client's the brand. Your client's also your audience, right? And they're not going to benefit from one measly post.
No.
And I know you do this full time. And I know saying no to money when you do this full time is hard because I'm sure there are some months that are not as strong. Other business, right? There's some months that you're like, we killed it. We had a great month. Because if you're making $6,000 on one brand deal and you're doing a few brand deals a month, it doesn't take a rocket science to say, wow, like she's having a great month. So how do you, I guess, like, because you've been doing this long enough to know that there's good months and bad months. How do you get through the bad months? Or how do you like kind of prepare yourself to say, you know what, this didn't work, but this did, or like kind of part of that process?
Yeah, that's a really great question because, you know,
we all struggle with it.
Everything's so up and down. Yeah. And I will constantly have to remind myself, like, you are a business, you have a budget. Even though this money's coming in this month or we sign these deals and it looks like we have a $12,000 month, we don't know if we're getting paid for that on time.
Exactly.
And it's going back to finances and planning and, you know, I still only pay myself a set amount.
Regardless goes into to the bucket. So what you're saying is so important because you're basically like, look, we had a $12,000 a month, $15,000 a month, but what if next month is not that? So here's my salary, right? This is what I'm going to take. And it almost like holds you over. But creators don't think about the planning, the finances, like how are we going to allocate, right?
Right.
And it's something that, truth be told, I'm happy you're sharing so that it could get people thinking, hey, you had a great month, get excited, be happy, but also know that we don't know what lays around the corner. Like we have to go bigger, go harder, like all the thing.
Right. And I never think about it as my money. It's the company's money. It's not, it's the Wild Explorer LLC. It's not Jeanine Romo. So you know what? Jeanine Romo only gets this cut and she gets it every other month. And
that's it.
We have to wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we have to wait. So building that professionalism and not like looking at your account as that, this is so good because people don't look at themselves that way. They don't separate from the business. They're like, well, I am the business. So I got paid 15 grand. I got paid XYZ. But you're like, actually, the business made this. I mean, that's how we look at our business. Right. I don't think of it as me either. But I love that you're highlighting this because there's a transparency around being able to pay yourself and, being able to think financially plan. Mm-hmm. In terms of walking away from money or saying no, is it because you're like, okay, brand, this isn't serving me? Like are you okay with just telling brands that they are no longer able to bring you like kind of what you need? You know what I mean? Like, how do you kind of decide that? Like, you know what? The rate's too low. It's not worth it. You're not worth my time. I want to open up mental space to bring in brands that are worth it for me. Like your big 6K deal or your 12K month or 15K month. How do we walk away from money? How do we tell someone that's listening in to inspire them to say, you know what? I know you're really excited, but if they're not paying you what you're worth, it ain't worth it,
Yeah. I just, after having deals that like, it was just too much work for the amount of money, it gets easier and easier to say no and walk away. And I have to remember, like, is this going to be worth it? One, it's like, does it make sense? Is this going to make sense to my audience? Is my audience going to like this? Do I like this? Do I feel good promoting XYZ?
Yeah.
And, if the numbers aren't right, it's just not going to feel right in the end. So you might as well just walk away and make it clean, walk away.
And things will come to you.
Definitely.
They have.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like what you wish, if there was a brand listening in or watching and they were like, if you could give advice to people on the brand side, how to better work with creators or like something that you want them to know, about maybe your job description or like this world that we live in that people don't really even get what we do, right? And do you have any like things that you wish brands would do better of or maybe pet peeves that you think because it's not always money, right? Sometimes it's, paying my worth, but is there anything else that you feel would be a little bit beneficial for brand people to kind of understand how to work better with you?
I think when it comes to brands, it's like really like, taking the time to work with creators that makes sense. And I think, when there are these massive campaigns where it's like, okay, we need, 50 plus creators to showcase this product, that's a different type of campaign versus like, hey, we want to bring on, 10 people who are going to kind of be like our ambassadors per se, and they're going to wear our products and represent, X brand for 3 months, 6 months. Mm-hmm. I love those type of brand deals where it's like I could,
feel like you're part of it.
Yes, I want to represent. I want to feel like I'm part of the family.
Yeah.
And show my audience and not just have these like
one-offs, the one night stand.
Yeah,
that's what we call them.
So done with those.
Like it's like having relationships and being like having like brand because I think you really care. I know you really care about your audience, and I know you don't want them to feel like you're just giving them a one-time thing. So maybe for the brands listening in, make it more, have maybe less creators that are on your campaigns, but develop stronger relationships with them because it's probably going to benefit them even more.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something in the beginning that we kind of touched on, just like the initial fears and things holding us back. Imposter syndrome is a big one for creators. No matter when you get the big deals or the little ones, something always kind of creeps up and tells us all the negative.
Yes.
Do you still feel that way in doing this for so long as full time? Do you ever feel scared or that imposter syndrome that, you're not this, you're not that? Is that something that still kind of goes through your head, or have you been able to shut that voice off?
I feel fear, like, I don't want to say all the time.
I do.
Yeah, it's constant. And I'm the type of person that's like, hey, I'm scared of heights, but I still climb those mountains. I'm still on the ledge. But you know what? We're here once, like, YOLO. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And let's conquer our fears. Fear, it's a mind thing, right? Like a lot of things. It's a mind thing. And it's just like moving past those fears. I feel imposter syndrome sometimes. Sometimes like, what did I get myself into? What did I sign up for? Do they know? Are they going to find out that I'm not really a good photographer, of this, of that? And I'm like, you've been hired like how many times to do something? Like, you're good, Jeanine.
Yeah.
Are there people who are better? Yes, but they're not Jeanine. They're not the Wild Explorer. They don't have what I'm offering. This brand saw something. So it's the little voices in the head.
Oh my God, I feel that because it's true. It's like that what you just said. Are they going to find out? I'm not a good this. Am I a fraud, right? I'm a phony. Are they going to discover it? That's the definition of imposter syndrome. And what you just said is such a great tactic. Remind yourself, I've been hired to do this multiple times. They want that. I'm not lying to anyone. Like, they can see. And I love that you have like that self-awareness and that self-talk to kind of just say, hey, you know what? It is that. You also mentioned this idea of being afraid of heights, but you still hike. And I talk about this a lot, about the fear will be with you throughout your whole entrepreneur journey. It's not just a brand deal. It's like always scared. Is this content going to flop? Is this, I don't know, like I have to raise my rates. I have to say no. There's fear attached to all those moments, right? But it's how we get through them is, I think, ultimately how we find success in it. So I love that. Yeah, me too. Any words of wisdom before we wrap up, especially for those creators that are listening that are wanting to be a part of this booming economy? They want their piece of the pie. They're inspired by listening to you and saying, oh my God, if Jeanine can do this full time, I can do this full time. Any sort of thoughts to those that want to kind of really do this?
If you're listening and you have if you want to do this, just do it. Do it. Take the plunge. Invest in yourself. It's going to come back. As long as you do the work, it's going to come back. Like, it'll come back tenfold, 100-fold. Like, I am a big, if you're doing the work, then your
results have to come.
They're going to come.
I feel that way too. It's like if you work out, you go to the gym, something's going to come. Like, you're going to get a muscle or whatever,
whatever you want is going to, absolutely.
I love that. So just reminding people that it's not theory, it's action. Do the work. If you want something, go for it. Don't let anything hold you back, including that nasty imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jeanine, for being here. This has been such a lovely combo. I appreciate you and can't wait to see all the amazing things you do. I'm happy to be a part of it. Thank you, my dear.
Oh, thank you.